The situation between DC Comics and Gretchen Felker-Martin, the man in a dress that they hired to write their Red Hood comics, just keeps getting worse and worse. The more things we keep learning, the more horrifying and ridiculous it is, and it makes you wonder what in the name of God is really going on over there at DC. But we know what's going on over there at DC. We've known what's going on over there at DC for years. They're a company that doesn't care anymore. They hire people because they check boxes. The people who work at the company willingly dislike the characters there and want to destroy them. That's why they keep putting these awful people on these books, and all they keep doing is pushing a bunch of perversion and disgustingness every opportunity that they get. Jim Lee apparently just operates on autopilot and doesn't care about anything. He just cashes his checks and goes home. That's about it. If he shows up there at all, I don't know. But after the brutal assassination of Charlie Kirk, Gretchen Felker-Martin came out and made some horrific statements and was perfectly happy to keep doing it. DC canceled the Red Hood book and everything, and now we find out even more disturbing nonsense in regards to it. And I thought I was only exaggerating years ago when I made a video, and in it I said we can fire everybody there. Well, you're gonna get a look at exactly how all of this works now. Dive into this article here from Bounding Into Comics. Cancelled Red Hood series writer says Warner Brothers demanded a groveling apology for Charlie Kirk comments. Yeah, apparently not DC, Warner Brothers, the company that owns DC, the company that you know is affiliated with Harry Potter and J.K. Rowling, the same J.K. Rowling that Gretchen Felker-Martin made a story saying that they killed happily admitted to killing J.K. Rowling and talked about wanting to slit her throat and all of this. This company, yeah, that's what we're getting. In a moment that stands to test the mettle of even the most ardent of anti-cancel culture advocates, yeah, because you must never talk about these people getting fired. You understand? You must never say that. Like I said in the previous video, they were out there saying that, oh, how dare you fire Gretchen Felker-Martin because this person is trans. You must never fire that person. No, they must be allowed to do, say, act, and behave however the hell they want, but you must never fire that person, you hateful bigot bastard. Never fire that person. But keep in mind, they could call for you to be fired. They could call for you to be killed. They could celebrate after you get murdered. That is perfectly fine. But the line is only drawn when it comes to anything that happens with them. That's it. That's where you draw the line. God. Now cancelled Red Hood Volume 2 writer Gretchen Felker-Martin says that while her public mockery of American conservative political pundit Charlie Kirk's recent killing definitely caused questions for the series' future, its abrupt axing was truly sealed by her refusal to honor DC parent company's Warner Brothers' demand for a groveling apology. It strikes me as shocking that somebody has to tell you to apologize for something like that. But as you will soon find out, this person has absolutely nothing working right upstairs. Nothing. Like somebody that I knew who was working with them years ago said once, yeah, this person elevator will go all the way to the top. So they talk about what happened previously, when Charlie Kirk got shot and Gretchen Felker-Martin put out the post talking about thoughts and prayers, you Nazi bitch, and then, hope the bullet's okay after touching Charlie Kirk. No desire whatsoever to stop. Now, Blue Sky suspended their account temporarily because that's all they do, because Blue Sky is a horrible den of absolute degenerates. You understand me? And I believe that has been lifted now, so no regards to that. A few hours later, local comic book stores across the United States, as it was the only country in which the book had been officially published, received a message from DC Comics informing them that not only was Jason Todd's latest solo series, which had just hit shelves that day, no longer moving forward, but that they would also offering full refunds via credit for both their remaining copies and those which had already sold. Why you hired this person to write a Red Hood comic doesn't make sense to me at all. I've said so. Person has no connection with comics, never at any point in time stated that they were interested in ever writing comics. Bold-facedly admitted that they have never read a Red Hood comic, isn't interested in continuity, wants to do their own thing, and doesn't care what the fans like. But apparently, all of that was perfectly good for DC to have this person write the book. Yeah, makes sense. Mm-hmm. Right, so they talk about, the statement that DC put out, all that I've covered before. All right, the rapidly unfolding nature of the situation as it was, Felker-Martin did not personally comment on Red Hood Volume 2's cancellation until the following morning, at which time they provided a public recollection of their past few hours to a currently unidentified Discord server. Per an alleged screenshot of Felker-Martin's statement as published under their regular Scum in Truth internet handle and provided to the public by Twitter user Digenix, the writer recalled how just a few hours prior, they had received a furious, frantic phone call from a Warner Brothers exec demanding that they offer an apology for their social media posts, a demand which Felker-Martin ultimately refused to honor. Now, this is it here, right? Somebody put out here, this person here, and they put out LAMOF this company, and I'm not going to blame them for making that comment. So this is what it is here. This is Felker-Martin's thing is unbelievable. It was surreal. I got a call from a WB exec at 10:30 p.m. She yelled at me. They did very much want a groveling apology. So somebody responded, I hope you yelled at her. This is what Felker-Martin responded. I told her I wasn't going to apologize for calling a Nazi, that he'd spent his life trying to kill everyone I love and that I had no regrets. When did Charlie Kirk ever do anything that would remotely, and I mean remotely, be considered Nazi-like behavior? When did he ever advocate for killing anybody? The man talked to people. One of these things Charlie Kirk said is that, he wants to talk because when people stop talking, that's when violence happens. That is it. Talk to people. You have your views. He has his views. You talk to people. He went to campuses talking to people. That's what he did when he was assassinated by some vile, horrible individual. They have a suspect in custody. No, understand me? I'm just going to say at this point, it's still alleged because until it's supposed to have been fully prosecuted and all that, it's still alleged. They're still getting evidence and all of that. But that's what's happening. But you're out here bold-facedly saying about that. Not DC called to say, no. Somebody from WB called to yell at Gretchen Felker-Martin to tell this person that they need to apologize. You're telling somebody that they need to apologize for the horrible things. And then the third person turn around and say, I told her I wasn't going to apologize for calling a Nazi, that he'd spent his life trying to kill everyone I love and that I had no regrets. This is how insane these people are. They live in these little bubbles that they create. Understand me? Surrounded by like-minded individuals who continue to just keep reinforcing their insanity. And then when they come out of that bubble into the normal world, and people are, they now are shocked as to why people are not joining in with them to celebrate murder. And when people say to them, this is horrible, this is wrong, it's not right, they get damn vexed because as far as they're concerned, you are completely wrong for not joining in on them. That is how messed up this is. But it doesn't end there. It kept getting worse. Felker-Martin would offer a lengthier insight to their feelings towards Kirk on September 12th via a post published on their Patreon account, the core of which is perhaps most scantily explained in their closing two paragraphs. Listen to this nonsense. Kirk was funded by the country's richest and most powerful, vetted by President Donald Trump as the whip that kept the youth vote in line and worked them into a frenzy on Trump's behalf. This gave him power. This made his words cut flesh and snap bone. There is no separation between Kirk's rhetorical violence and the violence carried out on his behalf, both by government abattoirs and by disturbed lone actors whose sickness he gleefully stoked in hopes that it would burst forth into showers of blood. Are you trying to tell me this isn't the literal ramblings of a crazy person? Yes, Charlie Kirk started an organization and you were part of, and yes, it had to deal with youth. And it was about getting youths to make America better. That's what it did. Now, yes, he was affiliated with Donald Trump. That's his business. The man could vote whoever he wanted. And if he wants to get people to vote, that's fine. But the reason Donald Trump won the election is not just because Charlie Kirk went and just put up a bunch of, or a bunch of youths into our frenzy. No, like I said, for Donald Trump to have won by the margin, he won by people who were Democrats had to vote for him because they saw the insanity that was going on and decided, you know what, I would rather place my hopes on Donald Trump and go forward with another 4 years at this craziness. That's what's going on. But then Gretchen Felker-Martin, not job that he is, decided to go and talk about, this gave him power. This made his words cut flesh and snap bone. How exactly was the man talking, doing that? Then one said there's no separation between Kirk's rhetorical violence and the violence carried out on his behalf by government. The man was talking, like I say, words are not violence, but this is how these people think. There is no off switch to their stupidity, so this is what they go. And then it goes on to talk about by disturbed lone actors whose sickness he gleefully stoked in hope that it would burst forth into showers of blood. You and others like you are calling for more murder and calling for more horrific things and celebrating his death. We talk about how he wanted that. I think this is how insane they are. They act like everybody else is the enemy. Everybody's doing this, but they are perfectly okay. But as I said before, it keeps getting worse. Gretchen Felker-Martin continues on. His hopes are now, listen to this nonsense, splattered across the backdrop of a gaudy little pavilion under banners reading, "Prove me wrong." But in his own sick language, Kirk was proven right. He seized power, used power, and effected great change in the world around him through the force of his desire for violence. Apparently, talking is the desire for violence. He died as he lived, twisting statistics to lie about minorities in hopes that others would murder them on his behalf. I am not going to come out and pretend that I have heard everything Charlie Kirk has ever talked about. No. But from what I have heard, the videos I have seen, I never met the man in person. I never met the man in person, but I've listened from the videos I have seen what he talked about. I have never once heard Charlie Kirk talk, incite, recommend, push, tell people to incite violence. Never. I have heard many people like Gretchen Felker-Martin talk about that. Because the person who shot Charlie Kirk did not just wake up that Wednesday morning and decide, you know what, I'm going to go do this. No. These people are indoctrinated by insanity like this. You spend every waking hour that you get online posting this bold-faced, nonsensical lies and crap. You understand me? You inject it into the minds of gullible individuals who will lap it up like it's the Bible. And when it keeps getting reinforced over and over and over and over again, they go out and they commit murder and violence on your behalf. Gretchen Felker-Martin talked about slitting J.K. Rowling's throat and others. Talked about you should bring some reporter to the edge of town so that they and others could deal with that person. Went out there and made a post talking about how Osama bin Laden blowing up the World Trade Center and killing thousands of people was the most defensible thing that person ever did. You are inciting violence, hatred, and nastiness, but in your sick, demented mind, Charlie Kirk was the one in the wrong. This is how insane these people are. This is how they operate. They have no conscience, no soul, no nothing. They're just evil people. And they twist anything to fit the narrative that they want. That's what they do. But of course, Gretchen Felker-Martin kept going. 2 days ago, I made a glib joke about Kirk's death. It was irresistible to me. Yes, joking about someone's murder was irresistible to this person. I had spent years smelling traces of the poison fumes he left in his wake, seeing his sneering face, his mouth full of teeth like baby corns and gums like congealed aspic. This shit is wrong. I stand by the sentiment of what I said. Kirk was evil. He can no longer hurt us, even if his cruelty will linger like a bad smell for decades to come. What I regret is that I didn't take that cruelty more seriously. In a moment when people were ready to discuss it, to unpack how violence is done and why at whose behest. Now, I don't know about you, but this whole thing is sounding to me like someone's insane manifesto. That's what it's sounding like somebody's insane manifesto. Listen to how this person described this. I don't think that, this person, we made a joke about this person that it was irresistible to me. I had spent years smelling crystal fishes of the poison fumes he left in the vehicle. You spend years seething in this. And then goes on to describe the person, seeing his sneering face, his mouth full of teeth like baby corns and gums like congealed aspic. You're literally trying to break this person down in your mind to be some kind of monster to justify what you're doing, while you are the one out here admitting you could not contain yourself other than to joke at this person's death. Continues on. I have tried to make my own analysis of it here to account for class, for race, for sexuality, and political theory. I have not touched upon religion, but the perversion of Christianity by lovers of human suffering and brutalization has reached a fever pitch, so deranged and terrifying that its influence on men like Kirk and his influence on it in turn should be self-evident to all. So not only is this person demonizing Charlie Kirk, they also basically trying to demonize Christianity, because as far as people are concerned, Christianity is wrong. It's wrong because they must be allowed to hump, bang, jiggle, gyrate, and whatever in the road in front of children, and you must say nothing about it because if you do, you're wrong. That's how they operate. Leading to and closing off remarks, this is what Gretchen Felker-Martin had to say. So he's dead. Our betters have rushed to mourn him and found us repulsed by their sentiment. Our enemies have discarded him as politically inconvenient in the wake of discovering his shooter's political affiliation, with Trump briefly declaring his death sad before steamrolling his interviewer to babble about the new White House ballroom, a sort of cathedral to the corporate wasteland of Cheesecake Factory aesthetics being built atop the bulldozed ruins of the famous Rose Garden, which is fitting, and that's the world Kirk fought so hard to make. This sounds like the unhinged ramblings of a deranged psychotic individual. This book was cancelled because you are, there's no other way to put it, a lunatic. You have no morals, no nothing, no anything about you that's good. You care about nobody. You are, in fact, a horrible, horrible monster. And this is what happens. So this is the thing. Apparently, somebody from Warner Brothers, not DC, somebody from Warner Brothers contacted Gretchen Felker-Martin, shouting at this person for their bold-faced, insane posts about the murder of Charlie Kirk, telling them that they needed to apologize. And Gretchen Felker-Martin was like, I'm not going to apologize. I'm happy for what I said over a Nazi, and then continue to make one of the most unhinged, insane, bold-faced, lying posts I have seen, making up things about Charlie and literally showing how unhinged this person is. These are the kind of people that radicalize individuals into doing horrible things. And DC hired this person knowing full well how deranged and sick in the mind this individual was. What does that say about them? Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. You have a different opinion, I'd love to hear. If you like the video, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell to be notified every time I upload a new video. And I shall see you all next time. Take care.